students, this is your Hardcore 2 class. In the last class, you have studied about structure and function of cell wall, and in this class, let us study about structural organization and function of intracellular organelles, in that nucleus and mitochondria. First, let us discuss about nucleus. So, the nucleus is defined as any formation surrounded by cytoplasm from which chromosomes arise during cell division. And nucleus is the most important part of the cell, and it controls all the cellular activities, and so it is called as controlling center of a cell. And nucleus was first discovered by Robert Brown in the year 1831, and the study of nucleus is termed as karyology. There are two types of nuclei. First one is a prokaryotic nucleus, that is, the nucleus do not have nuclear membrane, is called as prokaryotic or incipient nucleus. And second one is eukaryotic nucleus. It is one which has a definite nuclear membrane, and the cells are called eukaryotic cells. Example, all the higher plants and also animals. So in the diagram, you are going to observe prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell. In the prokaryotic cells, we are going to observe the presence of a nucleoid, and in eukaryotic cells, we observe the presence of nucleus. Next is a number. Generally, cell has a single nucleus, and it is called as uninuclear cell. And a cell with many nuclei is called as multinucleate or polynucleate. In animals, the multinucleate condition is called as syncytial, and in plants it is called as cynocytic. And in bacteria, the nucleus structure is called as a nucleoid. So, in the diagram, you have observed the nucleoid. Next is the shape. The nucleus may be spherical in shape, oval, discoid, branched, tubular, spindle-shaped, C-shaped, or bilobed or multilobed. So in the diagram, you might observe the tubular shape of a nucleus and also branched shape of a nucleus. Next, let us move on to size of nucleus. The ratio between the cell and the nucleus is called as nucleoplasmic index or nucleocytoplasmic index. In the short form, we written as NI or NP. And nucleoplasmic index, it calculated by volume of nucleus by volume of cell minus volume of nucleus. So by this we can find out the size of a nucleus. Next, let us move on to the structure of nucleus. And the structure, it consists of four parts. The nucleus consists of four parts. First one is nuclear envelope, and it is also called as nuclear membrane. And the second one is nucleoplasm. So in the diagram, you might observe the nuclear envelope. So it is also called as nuclear membrane. And the second part is nucleoplasm. So this is the nucleoplasm. And the third one is a nucleolus. So this is the dark part, that's the spherical part, is called as nucleolus. And also the fourth part is a chromatin networks. So these are the thread-like structures are called as chromatin network. So in detail, let us know the parts of a nucleus. And that first one is nuclear envelope or nuclear membrane. So it is the outer boundary of the nucleus. So in the diagram, you have observed it is the outer boundary of nucleus and it is present only in eukaryotic nucleus. The nuclear envelope consists of two membranes. The two membranes are separated by a space called perinuclear space. So, in the diagram, you might observe the two membranes, that is outer and inner membrane. So, in the diagram, you might observe this is the outer membrane and this is the inner membrane. And in between the outer and inner membrane, you are going to observe the space called as perinuclear space. So this is the perinuclear space. And each membrane is a unit membrane which consists of bimolecular lipid layers. And the nuclear membrane are discontinuous and we might observe the presence of a small openings or holes called as nuclear pores. So in the diagram you are observing that is a small gap between the membrane and we call it as a nuclear pore. At the pore region there is a transverse slit called as a diaphragm. So this is a diaphragm, it is a slit like structure. The pore has a rounded or octagonal electron dense structure called as a annuals. The outer surface of outer membrane is rough due to the presence of many ribosomes. So in the outer surface we might observe the ribosomes. Due to this the structure is rough in nature. And the outer membrane bulges out and form a small organelles called as a blips. And on the inner surface of an inner membrane there is an electron dense layer called as a fibrous lamina. So in the inner membrane we are going to observe the fibrous lamina. The exact function is not known, but it is believed that it acts as a third connective layer of a nuclear envelope. So next is a second part, that is a nucleoplasm. So it is a matrix of nucleus. The nucleoplasm is also called as nuclear sap or a nucleolymph. So this is the inner part that is called as a nuclear sap or a nucleoplasm. And this nucleoplasm contains nucleolus and chromatin reticulum. So this is the nucleolus we might observe in the nucleoplasm and also the chromatin networks. The nucleoplasm may be homozygous and granular. The nucleoplasm, it contains many proteins, RNA, enzymes like substances and also some of the phosphate nucleases. So in the nucleoplasm we are going to observe the many proteins. Next, third one is a nucleolus. So in the diagram you are observing the structure of nucleolus, and this nucleolus is a dark stained round structure found inside the nucleus. Generally one nucleolus is present in nucleus, but sometimes the number may vary. The nucleolus was first discovered by Fontana in the year of 1774, and the ultrastructure of nucleolus reveals four parts, that is granules, fibrils, chromatin and a matrix. So in the diagram you might observe the presence of a granules, that is dot like structures are called granules. Next, the thread like fibrils and also chromatin, that is here we are going to observe two types of chromatin, that is perinuclear chromatin and intranuclear chromatin, and the last part is the matrix. So the matrix of nucleolus is called as amorpha, and it contains fibrils and granules of 150 to 200 angstrom diameter. The fibrils are of 50 to 80 angstrom. So what you are going to observe here, the fibrils are 50 to 80 angstrom long. And next is the chromatin. And what I told is we are going to observe two types or two parts of chromatin. The first one is perinuclear chromatin. It is present towards the periphery of the nucleolus and it may be continuous or discontinuous. The second one is intranuclear chromatin. It is inward extension. So in the diagram you are observing the inward extension. It is called as intranuclear chromatin. And the chromatin contains DNA. The nucleolus shows a cyclic change called nuclear cycle, and it is nothing but the disappearance of nucleolus during the prophase and reappearance during telophase. So this cycle is called as a nuclear cycle. So next, fourth part, that is chromatin network. We call it as chromatin reticulum or chromatin network. So chromo means color and tin means body, that is colored bodies. Chromatin networks are the colored bodies. It is the colored network like structure which is present inside the nucleus. So we might observe the chromatin network, that is thread like structures. These are the chromatin networks, and the chromatin is present during interphase stage and telophase. During divisional stages, the chromatin reticulum undergoes condensation and forms colored thread like structures called as chromosomes. So this is regarding the structure of nucleus. Now let us move on to the function of nucleus. So first function is a genetic information. The chromatin part of a nucleus possesses all genetic information that is required for growth and development of organisms and its reproduction, metabolism and behavior. Then the second one is a cellular activities, that is the nucleus controls all cell metabolism and other activities through the formation of RNA, which control the synthesis of particular type of enzymes. Next, third function is ribosomes. The ribosomes are formed in the nucleolus part of a nucleus. Next, variations. So whatever the variations are caused by the change in the genetic material present in the nucleus. Next is the cell growth and maintenance. With the help of RNAs, nucleus direct the synthesis of some structural proteins and chemicals which are required for the cell growth and maintenance. Next is cell differentiation, that is it directs cell differentiation by allowing certain particular sets of genes to operate. And the last function is the cell replication, that is replication of nucleus is essential for a cell replication. So these are some of the functions of nucleus. By this we came to know about structure and function of nucleus. So next organelle is the mitochondria. So mitochondria are the cell organelles of aerobic eukaryotes which take part in oxidative phosphorylation and Krebs cycle of aerobic respiration. They are called as a powerhouse of a cell because they are the major centers of release of energy in aerobic respiration. So this is the structure of mitochondria. And this mitochondria is commonly called as powerhouse of the cell, and it was first observed by Kolliker in 1850, and Benda in 1897 gave the present name, that is mitochondria. Mitos means thread and chondrions means grain. Next is the shape and size. So this mitochondria is a cylindrical in outline, and the length varies from 1.0 to 4.1 micrometer in diameter, and this mitochondria, it contains two membrane, that is outer and inner membrane. So when we look into the picture or diagram, we are going to observe two membranes, that is inner and outer membrane. So in detail, let us know the structure of mitochondria. So in this diagram, we might observe the presence of two membranes, that is outer membrane and also inner membrane. The outer membrane is smooth and it is permeable to number of metabolites. It is due to the presence of protein channels called porins or minute pores. So due to the presence of these porins or pores, we are going to observe the permeability. And a few enzymes are connected with lipid synthesis are also located in the membrane. Then the second membrane is the inner membrane. It is permeable to only some metabolites and it is rich in double phospholipids called cardiolipin. That is phospholipid, that it is also called as a cardiolipid, and it is present in the inner membrane. And this cardiolipin, it is having a 4 fatty acids which makes the membrane impermeable to ions. So protein content is also high in the inner membrane, that is 70 to 75% of total components are present in the inner membrane. The inner membrane is infolded variously to form involutions, that is called as a cristae. So in this diagram we are observing the infoldings. They are called as a cristae. They are meant for increasing the physiological active area of a inner membrane. So this cristae helps in a physiological activity of a inner membrane. And these cristae are tubular or plate-like or vesicle-like. In the plants we are going to observe tubular-like cristae and plate-like in animals cells and also vesicles like in euglena. The inner membrane as well as its cristae possess small tennis rocket like particles called as elementary particles. So these are the particles called as elementary particles, that is F0 F1 particles called as oxysomes. The F0 F1 particles or oxysome has a head. So in the diagram you might observe presence of a head, stalk and also a base. So F1 F0 particles or oxysome has a head, a stalk and a base. The base is about 11 nanometer long and 1.5 nanometer in thickness. and the stalk is 5 nanometer long and 3.5 nanometer broad. The head has a diameter of 8.5 nanometer and elementary particles function as ATPase. So they are therefore the centers of ATP synthesis during oxidative phosphorylation. Next is a outer chamber, or it is also called as perimitochondrial space. The chamber is the space that lies between the outer and inner membrane of the mitochondrial envelope, that is outer and inner. In between the outer and inner membrane, what we are going to see is called as outer chamber or perimitochondrial chamber, and it is 60 to 100 angstrom wide. It extends into the spaces of a crystal. The chamber contains fluid having few enzymes, and this perimitochondrial chamber, it is having some of the enzymes. Next is the inner chamber, and it forms the core of the mitochondrion. That is, the inner chamber forms the core of a mitochondria. The inner chamber contains semi-fluid matrix, and the matrix has protein particles, ribosomes, RNA, DNA, which are helps in the Krebs or TCA cycles, and also some of the amino acid synthesis and fatty acid metabolism, the crystals of calcium phosphate and also manganese. So these are some of the particles what we are going to observe in the matrix. And this mitochondrial ribosomes are 55S to 70S in nature. Thus, they are responsible for ribosomes of the so they are the resemblance of the ribosomes of prokaryotes. Next is the function of mitochondria. So, because of the formation of ATP, the mitochondria are called as the powerhouses of the cell, and they are going to produce energy. And this mitochondria provide important intermediates for the synthesis of several biochemicals like chlorophyll, cytochromes, pyrimidines, steroids and alkaloids. And the matrix or inner chamber of mitochondria has enzymes for the synthesis of fatty acids. Next, it also helps in synthesis of many amino acids. That is, the first formed amino acids are glutamic acids and aspartic acids, and these are synthesized from alpha ketogluteric acid and oxaloacetic acids respectively. And next, the mitochondria may also store and release calcium when required. So these are some of the functions of mitochondria. By this, we came to know about the structure and function of the main intracellular organelles, that is nucleus and mitochondria. Thank you.